For centuries we've been told Hades was the villain of Greek mythology, the god of fire, the ruler of damnation. But none of that is true. The ancient Greeks did not fear him as evil. They feared him because he was inevitable. And what you're about to hear changes everything. The brothers defeated Cronus and the rest of the Titans chained just beneath the underworld. Hades, who was the king of the underworld, made sure none escaped. Now, when you hear the name Hades, what rises in your imagination? Fire? Chains? A throne surrounded by screams? For many, the word itself feels heavy, like a warning whispered in darkness. But that image is not Greek. It is inherited, layered, altered by centuries of retelling. In the oldest traditions, Hades was not a devil. He was not a corrupter of souls. He did not tempt the living. He did not wage war against heaven. He governed what was unavoidable: death. To the ancient Greeks, death was not evil. It was a condition of existence. Just as birth begins life, death completes it. The universe was not divided between good and evil. It was structured between realms: sky, sea, earth. And beneath the earth, the unseen. The Greeks rarely spoke his name aloud. Instead, they used titles: the Unseen One, the Receiver of Many, the Wealthy One. It was not hatred that silenced them. It was reverence mixed with caution. You do not mock inevitability. You do not pray loudly to endings. You acknowledge them quietly. And so, over time, silence became mystery. Mystery became fear. And fear reshaped the god of the underworld into something he was never meant to be. To understand Hades, we must peel back the layers of reinterpretation. We must step away from medieval fire and modern villainy. Because the god waiting in the shadows of Olympus is not who you think he is. Before we dive fully into the mysterious underworld, there was a great war that shaped the cosmos. And after the gods defeated the Titans, the brothers divided the cosmos amongst themselves. But Hades took the underworld. Then the great balance returned to the universe. The Greek underworld was not chaos. It was structured. At its boundary flowed the sacred river Styx, binding even gods to their oaths. Beyond it stretched the asphodel meadows, fields of pale existence where ordinary souls wandered in reflection. There was Elysium, a realm of gentle light reserved for heroes and the blessed. And deeper still lay Tartarus, a prison for those who defied cosmic order. This was not random suffering. This was cosmic administration. And at its center ruled Hades, not as tormentor, but as sovereign. In the deepest chamber stood his palace. Black marble columns rose into shadow. Blue flames flickered without warmth. Silence carried weight. Beside him rested Cerberus, the three-headed guardian. Not a monster of rage, but a sentinel ensuring no soul escaped improperly. Hades sat crowned in dark gold, still, composed. Unlike Zeus, he did not rage in jealousy. Unlike Poseidon, he did not lash out in pride. He enforced balance. And in that silence, there was dignity. In a field untouched by sorrow, spring moved like a living thing. Flowers opened beneath soft light. The air carried warmth. And at the center of that meadow walked Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of renewal, embodiment of blooming life. She was not yet queen of the dead. She was youth, laughter, movement. The myth tells us she gathered flowers when the earth began to tremble. A crack formed in the soil, not violent at first, just inevitable. Because in Greek myth, the boundary between worlds is thin, and what is hidden below does not cease to exist simply because it is unseen. The underworld is not separate from the earth. It is beneath it. And beneath every field of life, there is depth. When the ground split open, it was not random. It was alignment, a convergence of realms. And from that opening rose Hades, not burning, not monstrous, but solemn, purposeful, because this moment would reshape the world. He took her. That is the part modern ears resist. But myth does not move by modern morality. It moves by symbolic transformation. In many versions of the story, Zeus himself consented to the union. Marriage among gods was rarely romantic. It was structural, political, cosmic. Persephone was not chosen for beauty alone. She was chosen for balance. Demeter ruled growth. Hades ruled endings. Without connection between them, the cycle of seasons could not exist. When Hades brought Persephone to the underworld, the world above changed instantly. Demeter felt the absence, and grief entered the earth. Crops withered. Fields froze. The first winter descended. This was not revenge. It was loss made physical. The earth reflects the heart of the harvest goddess, and without her daughter, she could not nurture life. Thus, the world itself demanded compromise. In the underworld, Persephone did not scream endlessly. She observed. She adapted. And then came the fruit. The pomegranate. Its seeds gleamed like drops of blood in dim light. In Greek myth, to eat food in the underworld binds you to it. Persephone consumed 6 seeds. 6. Not a feast, a decision. Whether by choice or fate, the act sealed her connection to the realm below. When Zeus mediated between Demeter and Hades, a balance was struck. For part of the year, Persephone would return to the surface. For part of the year, she would descend. And thus the seasons were born. Spring and summer when she rises. Autumn and winter when she returns below. The myth is not about abduction alone. It is about rhythm. Life cannot exist without dormancy. Growth cannot exist without decay. And Persephone became the bridge between them. Over time, Persephone changed. She was no longer only the maiden of flowers. She became sovereign, seated beside Hades, not beneath him. In many depictions, she shares judgment. She listens to pleas. She tempers decisions. Unlike Zeus, whose affairs scattered chaos across Olympus, Unlike Poseidon, whose temper shook the seas, Hades remained constant. In myth, he is rarely unfaithful, rarely reckless, rarely impulsive. He rules quietly, and Persephone rules with him. The underworld is not a prison for her. It is a throne room. And in that partnership, we see something unexpected: stability. In the realm most associated with fear resides one of the most balanced unions in Greek mythology. Even heroes descended into Hades' realm. One of them was Heracles. As part of his 12 labours, he was commanded to capture Cerberus, the guardian of the gates. But notice something crucial. Heracles did not sneak. He did not steal. He asked permission, and Hades granted it, on one condition: no weapons, no tricks. If Heracles could subdue Cerberus with strength alone, he could take the beast temporarily. And he did. The guardian was returned unharmed. This is not the behavior of a sadistic tyrant. This is law. Structured challenge, order maintained. Hades did not obstruct heroism. He regulated it. Another mortal entered the underworld not with strength, but with music. Orpheus. His wife Eurydice had died, and grief drove him below. He played his lyre before Hades and Persephone, and the music moved them. Even in death, emotion resonates. Hades agreed to release Eurydice, on one condition: Orpheus must not look back at her until they reached the surface. He did. At the final moment, doubt overcame trust, and she vanished. Cruel or precise? The condition was clear. The law was spoken. Hades did not deceive. He enforced consequence. Some souls faced eternal consequences. Sisyphus, condemned to push a stone uphill forever. Tantalus, standing in water that receded when he bent to drink. But these punishments were not random cruelty. They were symbolic justice. Sisyphus cheated death. Tantalus betrayed divine trust. The underworld was not chaos. It was moral architecture. And Hades did not personally torment them. He presided. Judgment was often carried out by others. His role was sovereign, not executioner. Centuries passed. Empires fell. New religions spread. The underworld transformed in cultural imagination. As Christianity expanded across Europe, pagan gods were recast. The ruler of the underworld merged with imagery of Satan. But compare them. Satan tempts. Hades does not. Satan rebels against divine authority. Hades obeys cosmic law. Satan seeks corruption. Hades maintains balance. The conflation was symbolic, not original, and over time, the misunderstanding solidified. The Greeks avoided speaking his name. Instead, they called him Pluton, the wealthy one, because all riches rise from beneath the earth. Gold, silver, gemstones, fertile soil. The harvest depends on what is buried. Death feeds life. Decay nourishes growth. Without the underworld, spring cannot return. And so Hades was not merely ruler of endings, he governed transformation. Among the Olympians, Hades is one of the least dramatic. He does not storm Olympus in jealousy. He does not unleash plagues in pride. He does not seduce endlessly. He remains below, constant, unshaken. In many ways, he is the most stable of the three brothers. Zeus rules the sky with thunder. Poseidon rules the sea with turbulence. Hades rules inevitability with stillness. And stillness is often mistaken for coldness, but they are not the same. Every mortal life ends, not as punishment, but as completion. In Greek thought, death was not a moral verdict, it was a transition. Hades does not chase you. He does not manipulate your choices. He waits, patient, because time brings all things downward eventually. And when that moment comes, he receives. Not with fire, not with fury, but with order. The God everyone misunderstands is not the loudest. He is not the brightest. He is not the most worshipped. He is the boundary, the quiet line between breath and stillness, between sunlight and shadow, between what was and what will be. When we strip away medieval reinterpretation, when we remove modern villainy, what remains is not evil, it is structure, balance, completion. Hades is not the enemy of life. He is its counterpart, and without him, the cycle would never turn. Subscribe to Gods and Empire for more mythological documentaries and stories.